to pretend we're unified as a party after coming through a very bruising primary, which just ended like a week ago, to pretend we're unified without actually unifying, then we go into the fall at half strength. We just need to get to know each other, and we, as a leadership team, are enjoying the fact that we have a chance to meet with him.
I think I'm doing very fine with Paul Ryan. I have a lot of respect for Paul Ryan. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow. We'll see what happens. If we make a deal, that'll be great.
Make a deal, don't make a deal. The meeting up on Capitol Hill with Republican leaders, both on the House and Senate side. Let's bring in our panel and start there. Editor-in-Chief of LifeZette, Laura Ingraham. Jason Riley, columnist with the Wall Street Journal. And Mara Liasson, national political correspondent of National Public Radio. Okay, Laura, what has to be said? What do you think will be said?
I have a feeling they're going to agree on some issues, maybe judges, the types of judges who should be nominated to the court, some pro-growth policies, maybe some reduction in government, some deregulatory moves, but they'll probably leave off the table a couple of those big issues that Paul Ryan and he don't agree on. Obviously, the obvious ones are immigration and trade. And one might see sometime in the future, if Trump indeed beats Hillary in November, which I think he has a pretty decent shot of doing, maybe Paul Ryan ends up being a bit of a check on Donald Trump, where he fancies himself as a bit of a check on Trump in these areas. And so they say, look, we'll agree, but don't think you're going to get me on your side on this. And, you know, I'm not going to agree with you on everything. But we can still come out and say the big enemy here of our independence and sovereignty, the economy, is Hillary Clinton, and we're going to work together to defeat her.
Jason, the one thing Trump keeps saying is that negotiating is a good thing for him.
Yes, but I think largely Paul Ryan and Donald Trump will be talking past one another. I don't think they have the same sense about unity. Paul Ryan, I think, wants a united party. Donald Trump, I'm not so sure, is interested in unity. I think Donald Trump is more interested in remaking the party and building new coalitions, and he thinks that he can do this. You know, the traditional Republican coalition is military hawks and free market advocates and social conservatives. Donald Trump's more of an isolationist. He's not a huge fan of free trade. He's just learning the language of social conservatism, because I don't think he's been one for very long. So I think he thinks he can bring together a new coalition, white working class voters. I think he thinks he can pick up some of the people voting for Bernie Sanders, the anti-establishment types, and put together a winning coalition that way. So unity per se, as we usually understand it to be on the Republican side, I don't think that's what Donald Trump is thinking.
Mark?
And he said it himself. He said unity would be nice, but it's not necessary. He told the Wall Street Journal last week, he said this election is not about the Republican Party. It's about me. So I think he does have a different approach. But Paul Ryan is the highest-ranking Republican in the government, and he's got a lot of people that he has to think about in their election campaigns, and I think it's going to be tough. I think there are areas, as Laura said, where they will agree, but what about the ban on Muslims? What about immigration? Every day when Trump talks about these things, Paul Ryan and all of his House members are going to be asked about it.
Quickly about the taxes. Romney out with his Facebook post saying he needs to release the taxes even though he's being audited. Big deal, not a big deal?
Look, I don't know what Mitt Romney is doing. I mean, I guess he's, at this point, he's in it to help Hillary, because I don't know why he would make that point. What's his role at this point? But I don't think it's really going to affect this election. Trump's an isolationist. These are just kind of the phrases that people throw around. I think the party has moved. Rubio was out and Jeb was out in their home state. The party's moved to a more populist, slightly more nationalistic party. Trump's not a doctrinaire conservative. We all know that. But that's where the party has moved. And with tax returns not, I don't think that in this election cycle with so much on the line is going to have much of an effect, although Hillary will try to make it.
She'll jump on it, as she did today. I want to turn to Hillary Clinton. Take a listen to her explaining this FBI investigation, what she calls it.
I am 100% confident. This is a security review that was requested. It is being carried out. It will be resolved.
There is no basis for that. It's a security review. I think it's a security review. It is a security review.
Well, here's the thing. The FBI director, James Comey, today said this to a pen and pad with reporters, not on camera, but on the record. Quote, "I don't know what that means. We're conducting an investigation. That's the Bureau's business. That's what we do. I'm not familiar with the term security inquiry," he went on to say, or security review. So basically, whatever Hillary Clinton calls it, it's still an investigation.
Yes, and it's not complete, and this is one of the reasons Bernie Sanders is still in the race. So long as Clinton has this hanging over He wants to make sure the Democratic voters have an alternative. I think the FBI is getting very frustrated. I think they are under some political pressure here to wrap things up quickly and to leave her alone. And I think, as our colleague Judge Mahalatano was saying earlier today, you have to remember the same group that investigated David Petraeus is investigating Hillary Clinton. And a lot of them think Clinton did things that are probably a lot more serious than Petraeus ever did, and they're looking at the punishment that he faced. I think they're frustrated.
If this investigation is somehow squashed, or if people in the FBI who want to indict her are told not to, that's going to get out. And that's going to be almost as bad as if she actually was indicted.
It's going to get out because they'll leak it, like they did
this. That's what I'm saying. They'll leak it. Yeah, they'll leak it.
The
well,
FBI
that's not,
is leaking this stuff. Yeah.
But that's not good for her either. In other words, the only thing that I think is the best outcome for her is not only does she not get invited, but that every single piece of paper about this investigation is disclosed so people understand what happened.
Meanwhile, Cheryl Mills walks out on an FBI inquiry, a Q&A session, and Sidney Blumenthal wouldn't talk about whether he was interviewed by the FBI, which of course usually means he was. Yeah. Says that it's no big deal and it's probably going to end soon.
This is classic Clinton. This is what they always do. And when there's a question, when there's a legitimate review, they call it something else. It's always the semantic game they play. Comey is clearly really annoyed. I mean, Chris Christie, during the campaign, always talked about how he knew him when they were both U.S. attorneys and how professional he is. And people think, well, it's because it's an Obama, Justice Department, FBI that couldn't act against Hillary. I mean, Comey doesn't like people making light of what his team of professionals are doing. Whatever comes out of this investigation, he's annoyed, and Cheryl Mills' walkout, not going to look good. If it's just a security review, why are you walking out?